Well, let me ask this question. I've been concerned about member care and how we do that, how we continue to care for our missionaries that are in the field. So first, how do we stop even just the spread of disease among our workers, but how do we help them in dealing with discouragement, with fatigue, fear, and is there a case scenario where we may have to bring workers home, relocate, etc.?
Yes, absolutely. I lost in the last 10 years more than 5 martyrs in our movement. There is always danger from radical, from Muslims, from governments, from their own parents, and sickness, fatigue. I mean, my biggest problem is how to help these guys to take their Shabbat, because I have a lot of complaints from wives and children. They don't see their husbands and their fathers. And this is I always talk about the commandment of keeping the Shabbat, telling them the priority number 1 is our family. Even I tell them God is not number 1. God is all in all. He is the Alpha, the Omega, and all the alphabet letter. But my wife, my children are number 1, more important than ministry. But we have a problem because almost daily I have an emergency. So there are times when we have to take somebody from a whole family, smuggle them out of Egypt into Lebanon, and provide a place, a shelter, schooling for the children, and care for them till they find their way in Lebanon. Sometimes after a few months, they can go back home. But there are times when they have even to leave the whole Arab world, and many of my workers ended up in America, Canada, and Europe as refugees for for religious asylum. So our situation is, I mean, we are in the most hostile environment.
Yeah.
So Randy, can I just jump in? And this is kind of related to your previous question. I think often we talk about training and sending, but what we have found, especially in indigenous church movements, one of the factors that bear the most fruit actually is ongoing coaching and mentoring, especially on the ground, because we can be trained all we want, but when things get hard, we actually forget what we learned in a classroom. And so I find that to actually have good member care during crisis, it is to put down the process of having a coaching chain, mentoring chain, and also pastoral care, to have that in place in the good times. Because then when crisis hits, there's already a coaching chain, a mentoring chain, plus a member care process. And that's really, really important, because when borders shut down, I cannot fly, let's say, to Indonesia, but people already, every single person has a coach. Some they already have peers that peer groups they're in, and everyone has a mentor that's watching out for them. And I feel like at the indigenous level, that provides actually a lot of the day-to-day member care. Plus, we do things over Zoom. Everyone has a member care person as well. But I find the indigenous coaching network is very, very important.